Today's beach has another steep walk, the first actually surfable waves I've come across, and some seriously pretty scenery all around. Located right next to Mermaid's Chair, today's beach is Sandy Bay. Alrighty, so today's beach is Sandy Bay, which is the one right next to Mermaid's Chair. Last time I came, they said there was a free ride down at 12:30. I'm running a little bit behind. For those of you that don't know me, I like to be very punctual. For those of you that do know me, no comments, please. I did just get to the beach, so let's see how this free ride is. So I checked in and I was like, oh, so there's a shuttle down to the beach? And they're like, yeah, well, it's been down for 3 weeks. Apparently something happened with the golf cart and they're waiting for a new one to arrive. But I was not mentally prepared to make this walk today. Ow. That really hurt. Just stepped on a thorny stick. Good. Strong start. Anyway, I didn't bring walking shoes because I really was relying on that shuttle, which that's on me. I wore flip-flops, which tend to give me blisters after wearing them for a long time. So I was like, I know it's a paved road, I'm just gonna walk down barefoot. And like you just saw, I did step on a thorny stick. So anyway, strong start to the beach day. So there is Mermaid's Chair off in the distance. And I think right down there is Sandy Bay. And I did see some people with surfboards earlier coming up. So this might be a good surfing spot, but I'm a little worried it's not going to be a great swimming spot. But let's go find out. So this beach is the one right next to Mermaid's Chair. And since the shuttle wasn't working, you do still have to walk down. The walk to this beach is much shorter, but it also is a lot steeper. On the left side of the beach, there was a line of rocks that created almost like a border to the mountainside. The rest of the beach was sand, and it was some of the softest and squishiest sand that I've been on down here. This was also the first beach I've been to with actual waves, and these waves were non-stop. I grew up near Southern California beaches, so I'm very familiar with non-stop waves. I know firsthand that the ocean, especially when conditions are rough, is not something to underestimate. Waves can be dangerous and unpredictable, so it's important to know your limits. This beach was definitely the waviest one I've been to in St. Thomas. The waves weren't super strong, but they were continuous, which made me a little nervous to go in at first. I had my fins though, and I figured I could always bail while I was still shallow if I needed to. There was a somewhat noticeable pattern. A set of about 3 waves would roll in, and these were the biggest and most powerful ones. Even so, they weren't as intense as the waves I'm used to back in SoCal. Now, I'm not a surf guru, but these waves did seem surfable. If you're a beginner or intermediate surfer, this could be a good spot to practice. The waves have some power, but they aren't overwhelming. If you're more experienced, you might still enjoy the sets, but they may not provide the same challenge as bigger breaks. And also don't forget about the access to the beach. There is that big hill you'll most likely have to walk down. And even if the shuttle is running, I'm not sure if you'd be able to bring surfboards on it. I did see 2 guys with surfboards at the very top of the hill getting back into their car when I was leaving mine, but I didn't get a chance to talk to them. So if you're planning to surf here, just be prepared for a possible hike. Now back to the water. Because the waves are constantly stirring up the bottom, it'll look a little murky, but once you get past the break, the water clears up beautifully. There wasn't a lot to see out here, but I did find 2 whole fish. This is one of them. But other than that, I didn't see much. So not the best snorkeling spot. It was super cool to watch the way that the sand and sun rays move and change with the water. Since most beaches don't have waves, seeing the way they all move in harmony was very unique. It also doesn't get super deep. At this point, not only am I pretty much past the point where the waves are breaking, but I'm pretty far from shore and the water isn't even up to my chest. When you're leaving the beach, in order to exit the gate, you have to press this button and then push the gate open. And then right next door, there's the Botany Bay Market. There was this sweetie of a cat out front, so obviously I had to stop and pet it. The market really did have a little bit of everything. It had masks, snorkels, beverages, cleaning supplies, car supplies. It really was kind of a hodgepodge of things. They did have a lot of snacks and food. They were a little understocked when I went and the prices were through the roof, but it's not a bad pit stop before or after your beach adventure. And now for the finale, my ranking. I would give water quality and sand quality a 6 out of 10. The sand was amazingly soft, but I hate the way it gets in your swimsuit in the breaking waves. The water did clear up, but only if you're comfortable swimming past the breaking waves. And while there isn't much to see snorkeling, if surfing is your thing, this is hands down the best beach so far. There are no rentals available, and surfing really is the only activity you'll be able to do here. Plus, there aren't any amenities or bathrooms. There were a few people, but they were only on the beach. No one was in the water. So these factors get a combined score of 6 out of 10. Similar to Mermaid's Chair, this beach is not super accessible. There's supposed to be a shuttle, but that is not something to rely on. So accessibility is a 3 out of 10. The scenery and surrounding area is gorgeous. 9 out of 10. There was the small market up top, and the parking here is free, but it is also on the side of the road. Overall, I think it's a nice beach, but not necessarily one of my favorites. So I think I would give Sandy Bay a 5 out of 10. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know what beach you'd like me to review next.